Welcome back. Earlier, you learned why empathizing is so important. As a UX designer, empathizing is your #1 superpower because it helps you spot user problems. Solving user problems is the ultimate goal of UX design. But how do you even know if a problem is really a problem? Let's jump right in. Think about New Year's resolutions. Most of us set goals at the beginning of the year, but how many of us keep those goals? Well, it turns out not many. 80% of New Year's resolutions fail because they are not clear or we set unrealistic expectations. UX designers face similar challenges when setting goals. To make sure you're tackling something you can impact, set clear and actionable goals by focusing on user problems. So, let's identify those user problems. By now, one thing should be pretty clear. UX design is all about the user. You're always designing for the user. But who is the user, and what are their struggles? To find out, you need to be a bit of a mind reader. Okay, you don't exactly have to read minds, but you do need to use your superpower, your ability to empathize. You need to do research to get into the user's head and understand where they're coming from. You also have to anticipate both the needs that users know they have and the needs they don't know they have. That's weird, right? How do users not know what they need? Well, here's an example. In the heyday of flip phones, customers might have thought they needed a longer battery life, a bigger interface, an easier way to text. But they had no idea they needed smartphones. Most of us didn't even know smartphones were possible. So when Apple introduced the first modernized smartphone in 2007, we were dazzled by all it could do. Having a smartphone quickly turned into a need for so many of us. So if you narrow down everything that a UX designer does into a single role, that role would be problem solver. And solving user struggles or pain points is #1 on the list. Pain points are any UX issues that frustrate the user and block the user from getting what they need. Remember the Norman door? If you expect a door to open, it should open. If it doesn't, that's a user pain point. Or how about this one? Ever gone on a company's website to find their customer service info? You click tab after tab, scroll page after page, and you still can't find it? That's a user pain point. Most pain points fall into one of 4 categories. Financial pain points are user problems related to, you guessed it, money. If you've ever gotten lost in an online article only to be rudely interrupted by a paywall, you know all about these. There are also product pain points. These are usually quality issues related to the product. Norman doors fall into this category. Next up, there are process pain points. These are frustrations that stop the user going from point A to point B. For example, have you ever shopped online and struggled to get the item you want to check out? That's a process pain point, and that could mean the business loses a customer. And finally, there are support pain points. When users interact with your product, they might have questions. If they can't find answers to their questions, they won't feel supported. Customer service information that's hidden on a website falls into this category. Remember when I said designers need to read minds? Well, we also need to read hearts. I think it's safe to say that we've all experienced these kinds of pain points. We know how it feels. As a designer, you need to know how it feels for your user. In other words, you need to have empathy for your user. Think back to the door experiment. Opening the door may not always be easy. What if our user is in a wheelchair? What if they can't reach the knob? What if they don't have enough strength? You want to account for all users. Let's think back to an empathy map. Empathy maps show us what the user thinks, says, does, and feels. Empathy maps help us get into the user's mindset, allowing us to identify their pain points. This is just the beginning. We really want to get to know our users, and that's why designers create user personas. Let's find out what personas are all about.